So we are doing the Indochina Peninsula. This is Group 5 with Anisaba Guzman, Karina Reyes, and Lainey Chang. So where is the Indochina Peninsula? It is located in Southeast Asia and contains 6 countries. These include Cambodia, Laos, Myanmar, Thailand, Malaysia, and Vietnam. Some nations and major capitals. In Cambodia, Cambodia is a country located in the southern portion of the Indochina Peninsula. The capital and largest city is Phnom Penh, the political, economic, and cultural center of Cambodia. Officially known as the Lao People's Democratic Republic, Laos is one of the poorest nations in Southeast Asia. The capital and largest city is Vientiane. Officially the Federation of Malaysia, Malaysia is a country in Southeast Asia. The capital is Kuala Lumpur and the federal government is in Buchang. Originally home to the ancient Mon and Burma kingdoms, Myanmar was a province of the British India from 1886 to 1937. The capital city was Rangoon, which is now known as Nayapyidaw in 1989 when the name was changed to Myanmar. Made up of what were originally several Thai kingdoms, Thailand was previously known as Siam, and the capital and largest city is Bangkok. Vietnam is the easternmost country on the Indochina Peninsula. The capital city has been Hanoi since the reunification of North and South Vietnam in 1976. So, the Indochina contains a tropical and temperate climate zone. Much of the area gets considerable amount of rain. It is subject to an extensive and regular monsoonal weather system that produces marked wet and dry periods in most of the region. Some mountain ranges and rivers and lakes. Mekong River is the longest river in Southeast Asia, the 7th longest in Asia, and the 12th longest in the world. It has the length of about 2,700 miles. The river then flows through Laos, Cambodia, and Vietnam. Next are the Annamite Mountain Range. This is the principal mountain range of Indochina and the watershed between Mekong River and the South China Sea. This mountain range forms the boundary between Laos and Vietnam. Next are the Arakan Mountains. This mountain arc is in western Myanmar. The arc extends northward for about 600 miles. The mountain range itself is about 250 miles long, and the highest point is Mount Victoria at 10,150 feet. Next is the Shan Plateau, the crystalline massif forming the eastern part of Myanmar and forming part of the Indo-Malayan mountain system. Lastly is the Tonle Sap. This is a natural floodplain reservoir in central Cambodia. The lake is drained during the dry season, and during the June to November monsoonal regimen, the swollen Mekong River flows into Tonle Sap and increases the area from about 1,050 square miles to about 4,000 square miles. Major resources of the Indochina Peninsula. In Cambodia, Cambodia's key natural resources include gemstones, gas, oil, phosphates, manganese, iron, and timber. In Laos, Laos has rugged mountain terrain, and a lot of the minerals that are exploited are copper, gold, iron, silver, while other minerals for commodities are coal, gypsum, lead, potash, sapphire, tin, and zinc. In Vietnam, the major energy sources are oil, natural gas, coal, and hydropower. Vietnam is rich in other mineral sources such as iron, copper, gold, and building materials. In Myanmar, today's Myanmar's natural resources include oil and gas. various minerals, precious stones, gems, timber, and forest products. In Thailand, agriculture, forestry, and fishing are some of the biggest staple crops in Thailand, but recently rice has become one of the primary agriculture export. Cash crops such as coffee, sugarcane, rubber, and many fruits are produced as well. Lastly, in Malaysia, Malaysia's most economically significant natural resource is tin. Other important natural resources are rubber, palm oil, copper, gold, iron, natural gas, petroleum, and timber.
As we know, Indochina is made up of 6 different countries, those being Cambodia, Laos, Malaysia, Myanmar, Thailand, and Vietnam. The Vietnamese make up the largest portion of the Indochinese population with a total of 95.54 million people. The nation of Laos is the least represented country in the Indochina Peninsula with a population of approximately 7 million people. Altogether, these countries make up a population of approximately 273.342 million people. Vietnam is in the easternmost part of Indochina, and it makes up about 35% of the Indochina population. In order, the most populated cities are Ho Chi Minh City, Hanoi, which is the capital, and Haiphong. Together, these 3 cities make up 17.5 million people. That is 18% of Vietnam's total population. Next, we have Thailand. Thailand makes up about 25% of the Indochina population. In order, the most populated cities are Bangkok, which is the capital, Nonthaburi, and Nakhon Ratchasima. Bangkok is by far the biggest city with a population of 5.8 million people. Bangkok is the country's economic center and also is named one of the most popular tourist cities in the world. Nonthaburi has a population of about 280,000 people, while Nakhon Ratchasima has a population of about 174,000 people. These 3 cities only make up 8% of Thailand's entire population. Lastly, we have Myanmar. Myanmar makes up about 20% of the Indochina population. In order, the most populated cities are Yangon, Mandalay, and Naypyidaw. Yangon is the most populated city of around 5.9 million people, and it was formerly known as Rangoon. When Myanmar renamed cities after they won independence from the British in 1948, they renamed it Yangon to sound more Burmese. In 1858, France overtook modern-day Vietnam, Laos, and Cambodia. The French government planned to have Indochina serve as a source of revenue and imposed heavy taxes on things such as salt and rice. When the French sought after more resources, they were threatened by angry residents of the Indochina Peninsula. By 1940, the French could no longer afford to occupy the Indochina Peninsula any longer and granted Vietnam, Laos, and Cambodia independence. But by 1945, Indochina fell under Japanese control as a result to the Nazi-allied French Vichy government handing it over to Japan. The Japanese exploited them the same way the French had. Locals of Vietnam, Laos, and Cambodia united to form armies and fight the Japanese, but none were successful. After World War II and the collapse of the Japanese regime, Vietnamese nationalist leader Ho Chi Minh declared Vietnam an independent nation. While Laos and Cambodia were hesitant to become independent, they fell under French rule once again. Laos and Cambodia would not become independent until 1954 when Ho Chi Minh's Viet Minh forces defeated the French army at the Battle of Dien Bien Phu. The Geneva Accords brought an agreement to end the Indochina War of Vietnam against France. The Geneva Accords withdrew all French troops from major parts of the Indochina Peninsula, leaving Vietnam, Laos, and Cambodia independent from France, finally. Buddhism is the official religion for 5 out of 6 countries in the Indochina Peninsula, those being Vietnam, Cambodia, Laos, Myanmar, and Thailand. Malaysia is the only nation where Islam is the official religion. 3/5 of the population in Malaysia identify as Muslim. In fact, by law, you are only Malay if you identify as Muslim. A non-Malay is someone in Malaysia who does not follow the Islamic religion. Each nation in the Indochina Peninsula has an official language. In Vietnam, they speak Vietnamese. In Cambodia, they speak Khmer. In Laos, they speak Lao. In Thailand, they speak Thai. In Malaysia, they speak Malay. And in Myanmar, they speak Burmese. Although, this does not mean these languages are not found in neighboring countries. For example, Khmer, also known as Cambodian, is spoken by 1.3 million people in southeastern Thailand and over a million people in southern Vietnam.
It's composed of two different types and many others. So the first one we're going to look at is imperial court music. As the name suggests, was performed in the palaces of Gwen dynasties. The songs were mainly about wishing the king and his kingdom prosperity. There were also songs composed in honor of gods. They were sung in temples and sometimes in the king's chambers. These have been divided into three categories: elegant music, great music, and small music. Here's a little clip of how it sounds. Okay, to move on, we also have the folk music. It emerged from under the repression of the colonial government. The former is sung to evoke spirits during religious ceremonies. It's sung by women. It's a geisha style of entertainment. Okay. These countries made up the former grouping of French colonies, with French architecture and European food still trendy in all three countries today, together with influences from India and China as well. Vietnam has dozens of hill tribes. Cambodia's population is of mostly of Khmer heritage, and Laos has over more than 150 ethnicities divided into three main groups according to the altitude they live at in the lowlands, uplands, and highlands. This means a huge range of languages in the whole region. Okay, so for women in Vietnam, they wear the áo dai, if I'm pronouncing it correct. It's a long silk tunic with loose trousers underneath. This was the dress that they were wearing in the videos above that we seen. I'm sorry. In Laos, women wear it's called a sin, if I am pronouncing it correct as well. It's a long wrap skirt with intricate designs, usually made of silk. And in Cambodia, krama is a traditional scarf. It's used for multiple purposes, made of various materials. Some of the most lavish looking are made from Cambodia's national golden silk. Is the Vietnam signature dish. Who doesn't know pho? In Cambodia, the most famous dish is amak, a curry soup cooked by steam in a banana leaf, served with rice and fresh fish. The most famous dish of Laos is larb, spicy meat or fish, served with sticky rice and a smattering of herbs. Okay, and as well, it's also very popular noodles, rice, and soup. Issues in Indochina was the wars. One of the big issues was the wars. In 1946, the first Indochina War, also called the French Indochina War. The second one was in 1955, the Second Indochina War, also called the Vietnam War, and then the third one in 1978. Government powers in Vietnam are divided into legislative, executive, and judicial powers, mostly the same as the United States. In Thailand and Malaysia, as well as Cambodia, is a constitutional monarchy with the monarch as the head of state. level of development and economic development issues. So, as we know, Indochina is a developing country. Laos poverty rates have declined from 33.5 to 23.2. In Malaysia's economy in 2010, it grew from 5.4% and it's expected to transition from an upper middle income economy to a high income economy by 2024.